Well, this is Ryanair Chase time on the latest of our ante-post series. Glad to say Nick Watts, Graham Rodway with me as usual. And gentlemen, in my opinion, this is shaping up as perhaps the race of the festival. A really, really good-looking contest, this one. Q Card heads the market, the best price 4-1. Now, I love Q Card to bits, as you know. I probably backed him to win a Gold Cup, but I cannot believe he's been cut 3 points in some places for his win. Okay, in a Grade 1. I thought he was flattered for the fact Captain Chris made an error and it rather handed him the race. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic there, but personally I'm not interested at 4-1. Are you, Nick?
No, not really. Like you said, I like the horse. Not everyone who wins the champion bumper goes on to do anything great, but Q Card has held his form very well since then and obviously won some good races. The point I've got to make about Q Card is probably similar points to what other people have said as well. I think he looks great when he's on the front end of a race and can dominate and bully other opponents, like he did when he ran at Exeter early in the season and held in Gold Cup and looked superb. You put him in amongst horses and he doesn't look quite so good. Obviously his jumping, it was probably a little bit to do with staying power as well in the King George as jumping, but he made a few howlers early on. I always remember in a novice chase last year, he ran against Grand Cru early in the season at Cheltenham, and he's in amongst horses then, and he fired Joe Tizard out the saddle in that race. And I just think he's better on the front end when he gets an easy lead. I thought that Ascot Chase was a really interesting race last weekend. Richard Johnson, I thought, absolutely rode a real cracking race on Captain Chris, because Q Card was on the front end where he likes to be and having an easy time of it up front, and down the back straight, Johnson I thought made a concerted move to put Captain Chris upside him, knowing that Captain Chris stays further than 2 miles 5, and obviously because maybe in his view as well, he thought there might be a weakness in Q Card when you put another horse up against him. Hassle him. Unfortunately, it backfired because, as we saw, Captain Chris took an outrageous liberty with the second last and just about stood up. But basically, as you said, the race was as good as over, and we never got to find out what Q Card would have happened when he put under pressure over the last 2 fences, and he's able to come home in his own time. He's not going to get an easy time of it here. He's in against some experienced and top-class horses who I doubt will give him a soft lead. So I'm not interested in him at 4-1.
He's about 5-6 lengths in front, and Q Card, punched out by Joe Tizard, is going to go on and win a dramatic running of the Betfair Ascot Chase. Q Card the winner. It was very costly for Captain Chris in second. Flashing home.
Graham, quick word on the favourite, 4-1. I mean, would you perhaps even run him in the Queen Mother?
Yeah, I've had a brief look through the history of this race, and it tends to be won by quite established performers, really, and it's won by strong stayers. I think 5 winners have either gone on to win over 3 miles afterwards or had won over 3 miles before going on to take the Ryanair Chase, and that includes 4 of the winners since it became a Grade 1 in 2008, and really last season as well when Riverside Theater won. It was really Stamina that won in the day because he was really under pressure a long way out and he just outstayed them up the hill. And I think what you're looking for the winner of this race is a horse that really stays well and will get 3 in time. And I don't think Q Card comes into that category. I think Q Card is, as we've said, bags of speed, but stamina is Achilles' heel. Particularly doesn't always look the most strongest of finishers. He was trading at 4 in running when Captain Chris was upsides him when making the mistake at Ascot. I'm convinced Captain Chris would have outstayed him, and if he had, he'd probably be 2 or 3 points bigger, Q Card. So he's not my idea of the winner.
Okay, well, I know what is your idea of the winner, and I know this whole debate's going to turn into absolute fireworks because you're keen on the second favourite, Graham, and that's First Lieutenant. Why is he going to win the Ryanair Chase?
Well, he comes into the category, doesn't he? I know he's not won over 3 miles yet, but we know he definitely stays 3 miles because he was second in the Hennessy. He was good, was it 3rd or 2nd, somewhere there in Ireland, close up in that bunch finish.
Yeah, ran well in the RSA last year.
Yeah, and Tidal Bay was 2nd behind Bobsworth in the RSA. He is real stayer, and that's what I'm looking for. The test that it does, or it has done in the past, then it'll be very difficult to beat. And 11-2, if he turns up on the day, I could quite easily see him going off favourite.
Okay, so First Lieutenant is 11-2 for G-Rod there. And then Nick, I think we know what you're going to tip. Just remind us.
Yeah, it's sizing Europe, who even G-Rod has come to love over the years, and grudgingly admire him as the top-class horse he is. Maybe not love, that might be a bit strong. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a debate, there's a risk in putting him up because they haven't decided yet, as haven't a few others, as to which race they're exactly going to go for. in my mind, is an absolute no-brainer. Henry de Bromhead needs to sit Alan and Anne Potts down and say to them, look, you've got an 11-year-old here, you can go to Cheltenham one more time with the horse at the peak of his powers. Do you want to win a race at Cheltenham? If the answer is yes, they've got to go for this race. I think if they go for the Queen Mother, they're playing for places. I don't think he can beat Sprinter Sacre. I don't think he'll get him off the bridle. I think if you looked at Sizing Europe's last 2 runs over 2 miles, or they're about 2 miles, I think you can see the reason why he won't beat Sprinter Sacre. He struggled to put away Ruby Light at Christmas at Leopardstown. Ruby Light isn't a 2-miler. He's not even that good, not when we're talking about these kind of horses. He's decent, but he's not amazing. And then last time again, although he's been running on testing ground, which doesn't really suit him, I still think he struggled to put away a vastly inferior opponent in a foil dub. Didn't really impress me that day. Got the job done, but that's about as much as you can say about it, no more, no less. We know he comes alive at Cheltenham, but he looks more like a stayer than ever this season, and whereas you could argue, we could have a good debate about whether he genuinely stays 3 miles. He's done it at Down Royal twice, and he's probably stayed about 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs, and it's the last half furlong that's just caught him out.
He started off the campaign over 2.5 and was arguably the best performance of his career, de Bromhead said, in Ireland. So
absolutely. I think if you could frame a race perfectly for Sizing Europe at this time of his career, I think it would be the Ryanair Chase 2 miles 5 round Cheltenham.
Sizing Europe and Andrew Lynch make it 4 in a row this season and win by 10 lengths from Foyle Dove, a gallant second.
Graham, you look bemused.
Well, I feel like we've been here.
Groundhog
We
Day.
have been here before, and Watsy come out on top last time. But for me, he's not a strong stayer. I was just discussing the fact that we want a real out-and-out stayer to win this race. And yeah, you can point to his form over 3 miles in Ireland, but he didn't get home full stop because he didn't win those races. I remember him being completely outstayed by Quito de Lorrac over 3 miles.
He was leading over the last. It's
He was
only
leading
the
over the
very
last.
last section of the race that he struggled.
But what we're talking about is you're talking about a real strongly run race at Cheltenham, which is what we're going to get here. And I don't think he stays in a real strongly run race. I think when he's messing around in Ireland over 3 miles on, in small fields.
But if you're Anne and Alan Potts, which race would you go for?
Well, I wouldn't bother bringing him because he can't win any of them. I'd leave him at home.
That wasn't the answer I was looking for.
Right, so yeah, basically you're against
I'd
Sizing.
leave him at home. He won't stay strongly enough to win this race. He's always been a speed all size in Europe. He struggled to get home to win the Arco, only just did it. Or he did win the 2 mile champion chase, but again proves that he's all about speed, and this race is more about stamina.
Okay, right, brilliant. So agree to disagree, I think, is the motto there then. Thanks for your tweets. We've had them flooding in as usual. Obviously, I haven't got time to read them all out, but one I thought we must mention is from Conrad Clancy. Cheers, Conrad. And you've basically said that Alberta's Run is the forgotten horse of the festival. 25-1. Has won this race twice. Narrowly pipped last year. Goes on good ground. Nick, why is he 25-1?
Probably because he's a 12-year-old and we haven't yet seen him this season.
Would you rule him out on that basis?
I wouldn't rule him out because, as you've just said very eloquently, he's got a fantastic record in the race. And sometimes, as pundits, we can be a bit ageist. I've just done it a little bit with Sizing Europe, saying you'll be a declining force next year. But if you manage horses in the right way, you can still win decent races at 12 and go on. You only have to look at Corto Star to see that. He was still a force late in his career. No reason why. Albertas Run hasn't got a huge amount of miles on the clock. John Joe patches him up and wheels him out a couple of times a season. And for whatever reason, he seems to come alive at the festival. I mean, it seems years ago that he won the RSA Chase, and he's just been holding his form every season since then. He keeps surprising me.
2008, that was.
Yeah, exactly. It's, we're 2013 now, so I certainly wouldn't rule him out. And 25-1 is too big for a horse with such a good record.
Crikey, you're going to agree on this?
I agree with Watsy. I think Alberta's Run's a really good value bet. He's almost certain to run, I would say, unless something goes amiss with him. This will be his target. We know that. He's won it twice and finished second last year. Comes alive at Cheltenham, goes well fresh, loves the race. I can't understand why he's 25-1 and Riverside Theatre's 8-1. There's not that much between them last time, and it can only be the fact that we haven't seen Alberta's Run this year and that he's a 12-year-old. But in some ways, he's still coming in with a better profile than Riverside Theatre. When you look at Riverside Theatre, I mean, I'm a real big Riverside Theatre fan. I really like the horse. I think it's a huge amount of quality.
He's had a stinker this season, hasn't he?
But he really is. This season, I mean, we haven't seen him, apart from in the King George, where he displayed the tendency again to jump poorly, which he did at Cheltenham, despite coming on to win this race. And then it was a real no-show. And if you fancy Riverside Theater, I really do think you've got to have your head tested at 8-1.
Okay, right. So, right, moving on very quickly, and I'm going to throw in my penny's worth. Two I like, a Menorah, 12-1. I think he's profile for 2.5 miles, Nick. I was looking at, he's beaten Huntball, he's beaten Alfarov at Aintree, who's gone on to win a Paddy Power Gold Cup and Crystal Bonus, and he won by a distance on debut. Didn't get home over 3 miles last time. I just think this is the perfect trip for him.
Yeah, Menorah is one of those horses, for me. I can see why you like him, but I just never know what to expect from this horse. I thought he'd run a decent race at Exeter against Q Card, and he was absolutely appalling. Then he went to Kempton and won. Then he tried 3 miles. Okay, you can forgive him that because he arguably didn't stay, and it was a new trip. It was a bit of an experiment. Like you said, 2 mile 4 round is probably ideal for him. But I know you like him, and I respect that. But for me, I just never know what this horse is going to turn up with. And if he brings his A game to the party, he's got a chance. But I can't really work him out. I don't know if Graham can.
He's comes in my little category, brilliant or terrible, and nothing in between.
He's been brilliant at 2.5 miles. That's
yeah,
my
he's
point.
a real enigma. He has been good at 2.5 miles. I think he's unbeaten, is he?
Yeah,
at 2.5 over fences, and maybe he didn't stay last time at Newbury, which you can definitely argue because it was his first try over 3
heavy ground as
on
well.
heavy ground. However, he was absolutely terrible again. It didn't run like a horse that didn't stay. It wasn't like he was bang there and then drifted away like an on-stayer. He just ran no sort of race like he tends to do every now and again. And I agree, Watts, if he does turn up on his A game, he'll have a chance. The other one, Champion Court, I can't have this horse.
Where's that in my mouth?
I mean, I know Price-wise has put him up.
Oh, I'm very keen on him.
I mean, professional loser, really is Champion Court. His form figures now are 2.2242 on his last 5 starts. He's traded at 2, 2.2, 1.8, 1.51 and 1.33
But
in running.
each way, 2.5 miles at Cheltenham, everything's going to be perfect.
Well, don't get me wrong, he's got plenty of class and he's got ability. He goes well at Cheltenham. He ran well in the Juicing last year. He's absolutely guaranteed to run well and not win.
Okay, well, fair enough then. I think we're going for a scattergun approach then. So, Nick, inside in Europe camp.
Yeah, absolutely, very much so. And I just hope Alan and Anne Potts see sense and they run size in Europe in the only race he can possibly win at Cheltenham.
And then, Graham, for you, First Lieutenant Alman Albertas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that First Lieutenant is going to be the favourite for this race on the day. I think he's probably going to be about 5-2, 3-1, and you're looking about 11-2 now. And Albertas Run will also be a lot shorter on the day if he turns up, probably be about 12 or 14s. I'm not sure he's got the ability to win the race because he is a 12-year-old, but he again has got a great record in the race, and he's going to give you a decent run for a place at 25-1. I'd much rather back him each way than Champion Court at around about the 10 mark.
Okay, well, I'm Champion Court and Menorah, so between us we've got about 98% of the field. If we don't find the winner, then we'll give up next year. Thanks for watching and see you all again soon.